Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vandeham Shri Ramakrishna Akaya Charanamrito Paramanando Sundaro Sugavriyo He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jarakate Krishna Govinda Radha Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Shri Gaurama Jaya Guru Vishnu Ki Jaya Bhakti Guru Ki Jaya Prema I'm not going to read it.
No, I'm not going to talk about this.
Okay. Not reading that. So, ready to start again. Any questions? My part.
Yeah, I was wondering about the Bhagavatam. That certain sections are more important to study than others. There's all pretty much equal as far as study goes.
Mm-hmm. There are certain sections that are more important than others. The most important section is the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. And when Rupa Goswami says that there are 5 very potent angas of bhakti in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sadhusanga, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, to live in a holy place, worship the deity, because the other two forget the Sanskrit. Srimurti, anyway, Sadhusanga, you understand that, and Bhagavat Shravan, hearing the Bhagavatam. So, Sadhusanga, hearing the Bhagavatam, living in a holy place, Durvas, worship the deity, Sadhusanga, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan. Sadhusanga, Nam Kirtan, hearing the Bhagavatam, living in a holy place, and worshiping the deity. So these 5 things, very potent forms of bhakti. And among them, Bhagavat Shravan, hearing the Bhagavatam. So, I believe in his commentary on that, Jiva Goswami says that this means the 10th canto. So, 10th canto is most important. It's the Ashraya Tattva of the Bhagavatam. There are 10 subjects of the Bhagavatam. 9 of them are thought to be sheltered topics, and one of them is the shelter-giving topic. Like Avatar Tattva is a sheltered topic. Vamsanucharita, list of the Vamsas, the character of the Vamsas means the lineages, kings, and so forth. Their character and stories are often be there, for example. These are some Poshana, maintenance of the devotees, the Bhuti, Nirodha, Mukti, Sthana, Poshana, yeah. The secondary creation of Visarga, Sarga, Visarga, Poshana. Ishanukatami, Avatar Tattva, all these things. These are the subjects of the Bhagavatam. 9 of them again are sheltered. One of them is shelter giving. So shelter giving, the Ashraya Tattva is Krishna, and the 10th canto is all about him. The whole book's all about him. But the 10th canto is his story, so to speak, from beginning to end. And so that's emphasized. Of course, Prabhupada emphasized the first 9 cantos you should read first. And his idea behind that, of course, was that in order to understand the 10th canto, the beautiful stories of Krishna, it helps to know all the things that are sheltered by him, so that it makes you understand that he's not an ordinary boy, which could be misunderstood. That's kind of the spirit of Prabhupada's emphasis along those lines. At the same time, if he emphasized like that, of course, he gave the 10th canto first in the form of the Krishna book to all of his students, and has distributed them to all kinds of people as well. So, sometimes statements have to be adjusted, right? And appear in the contradict to another, so it seems. So, anyway, this is the main section of the Bhagavatam. Now, in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, there are also main sections. So, because Krishna in Braj is the main, is Swami Bhagavan. He's the source of Mathuresh Krishna, Dwarkesh Krishna, Krishna going to Mathura, Krishna going to Dwarka. Therefore, the stories of Krishna in Braj within the 10th canto are the most important. You have the Mathura section and the Dwarka section and the Vrindavan section, in which Vilimani Rupa Goswami explains that Krishna in Dwarka is perfect. Krishna in Mathura is more perfect. Krishna in Vrindavan is most perfect. In one sense, the 10th canto builds up to within the 10th canto, to the Rasa Leela, and then Krishna, a couple of chapters or so later, goes to Mathura and Dwarka, and these are afterthoughts that, in one sense, properly understood, reflect back on the glory of the love of Vrindavan. And so we're building on it. 10th canto, the section in the 10th canto on the Braj Leela, and within the Braj Leela, there are Krishna has three identities. Krishna is the son of Yashoda, Yashodananda. That's one of his identities. And he is a cowherd boy. There's another identity. This speaks first of his Kumar Leela and then of his Poganda Leela. Obviously, when he's a cowherd boy, he's also the son of Yashoda, but at that time, he's meeting with friends and he has a life away from home too. So it's same Krishna, but it's another identity. So this is the Sakyaras identity of Krishna as a cowherd boy. And Krishna has a third identity as the beloved of Radha, the lover of Radha, Radhanath. And this is relevant to his Kishore Leela. The end of manifesting the Prakat Leela appearing in the world as a statue. So, because of the three identities, if you will, of Krishna, corresponding with Vatsalya-ras, Sakya-ras, and Madhurya-ras, the Chari-bhav, as Krishnadas Kaviraj explains, four bhavas of Vrindavan: Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. But the Dasya rasa is tinged with Sakya, 99.9% of the cases. That's why one of the reasons why once Prabhupada was pressed by one of his disciples, Rishikeshananda, who had spent time in Gaudiya when Prabhupada was in India, and he came back with some more esoteric understandings and information, I guess you could say, than most of Prabhupada's disciples had, because Prabhupada was preaching to the West and introducing new ideas and so forth. So some of the more esoteric concepts, Prabhupada had kind of a break on those, or in general, Prabhupada wrote, and I was explaining this to somebody earlier today, in a sense, in an abbreviated way about a number of issues, topics. And that, perhaps owing to his sense of the need to be expedient, given his age and his health. He said that at times. Wasn't sure if he would finish. And of course, he was doing other things too at the same time, traveling, opening centers, managing them, corresponding with disciples and so forth. So he was very busy. But that aside, we know that this is the case, that he wrote in an abbreviated way on some topics, because if you study the books and the commentaries on the books that were his own resources for writing, Prabhupada didn't write in a vacuum. He had the commentaries, for example, on the Bhagavatam of so many acharyas that he would refer to and study, and then he would write his own commentary. So if you're familiar with those, then you can see in many instances where Prabhupada's abbreviating, saying something in a shortened way, and that's the advantage then of being able to to study those other books, which he's made possible for us, to his disciples, for example, by, as I said the other day, being initiated by the real Guru and have access to the whole Guru Parampara. And of course, his disciples and others have translated some of these books in languages that outside of Sanskrit that others can read, and so on. So it's a great advantage. And you can kind of see proper in context. You can see, oh, he's got this. This is coming from Jiva Goswami here. This is coming from Vishwanath. This is part of this. And so his own insights, of course, as well. But that's very helpful to understand. I guess again, Prabhupada didn't appear in a vacuum. He can just close his eyes and hold a pen and it moved, something like that. So sometimes in a abbreviated way, he would comment. And Hrishikesh Ananda had, as I said, had spent time in Gaudiya Math, and some of the topics like Manjari Bhav was not something Prabhupada wrote about. And he wrote about the Gopis love, Yes love, and he studied his books. You could miss that, but he didn't go into as many details. In another culture, in India, for example, Gaudiya Math was largely in India, and dealing also to a large extent with Gaudiya Vaishnavism that Saraswati Thakur was critiquing. He was critiquing his own tradition. And so there was a lot of, in his estimation, misrepresentation of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and also the estimation of Bhaktivinoda as well. And he followed the lead of Bhaktivinoda to critique and try to kind of root out, it would be, I guess, at the core, what we try to root out hypocrisy within Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Saying one thing, but your life is otherwise. And high topics too. So Prabhupada was a little conservative about that. Anyway, so shortly, the Hrishikesh Ananda was asked Prabhupada once, so is everybody, are all the acharyas in our Gaudiya line in Manjari Bhav? And Prabhupada says, oh, so you know about that. and so on. And then Prabhupada said, down to Sakya. That's how he answered, down to Sakya. So in one sense, what he means is that it begins at Sakya. Maho bhagyam, nanda gopa vishokasam, yam mitram paramanandam, punabrahma sanatana, as Brahma said. Oh, how lucky are all the Nanda Gopa people, the followers of Nanda Maharaj, all the Gopa people, because Yam Mitram Paramanandam Puna Brahma Sanatana, the Puna Brahma, the eternal Brahma, full face of Brahman, Yam Mitram Paramanandam, the supreme joy, has become a friend of everyone in Vrindavan. This is a general idea. This, you don't have this in Vaikuntha. You don't have this in Ayodhya. You don't have this in Dwaraka. You don't have this in Mathura. You have this in Vrindavan. And you have, of course, the full face of Vatsalya and of Madhurya. But the ground, in one sense, is probably saying down to Sakya. This is the ground. It begins there. Of course, he's also in Sakya Bhav, so he answered that way as well, which is a beautiful thing. But the point is that I'm making is that even the Dasya Bhav of Vrindavan is tinged with Bhakti, with Sakya. So you have Sakya tinged with Dasya, you have Dasya tinged with Sakya, you have Sakya tinged with Vatsalya, you have pure, unadulterated Sakya, you have pure Vatsalya, you have Madhurya, and different varieties, so many varieties of that, and so forth. But these, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, these correspond with the three personalities, if you will, of Krishna. The son of Yashoda, the friend of Sridham, and the lover of Radha. So within the 10th canto, and within the Braj Leela section of the 10th canto, the most perfect representation of Bhagwan, then you have these three sections. For example, in chronological order, the Vatsalya section comes first, because he's younger and he's going through the chronology of Krishna's life there. And so you have the real powerful Vatsalya Rasa section is the Damodar Leela. It covers several chapters. It's very his parental love really is just oozing in this section. And I'll get back to this, but then you move to the 10th canto, to the Brahma Vimohan Leela, the 12th, 13th, 14th chapter of the 10th canto, and then the 15th chapter, the killing of Dhenukasura. This is the Sakyarasa section. Just as Krishna just starts to step from Kumar, herding calves, into Pauranga Leela. And very powerful section for this. The Pauranga Leela really played out in the 15th chapter, and it leads to the Sesh Pauranga, the end of the Pauranga, and stepping into Kishore. At the end of the chapter, there ends with Krishna glancing at the gopis as he's coming back from the forest. They exchange glances and so forth. And then, of course, the Madhurya Rasa Center is there in the Rasa Panchajaya, 5 chapters in the Rasa Leela, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, five chapters. And so these are centers within the Braj Leela Center, which is a center within the 10th canto center, which is a center within the other 9 chapters, 9 cantos, 12, 11 cantos of the Bhagavatam. Now, of course, if we go within that, then the Madhurya Rasa Center is the fullest kind of, where the greatest intimacy with Bhagavan can be derived. And this is the important point here that I wanted to come back to, that in these centers of this Vatsalya Rasa Center, the Sakya Rasa Center, this Dasya Rasa Center, what is really being portrayed there is these types of love of Krishna. They're about Krishna, but they're about Krishna in such a way as to showcase these types of love for Krishna, these rasas, so that upon reading them, having had sadhu sangha, those feelings, attraction for those sentiments can be cultured within the sadhaka. So this is the speciality of the Bhagavatam. It is, what I'm saying is, it's more about love of Krishna than it is about Krishna. So Bhagavata means Krishna, Srimad means Sri in a sense, beautiful. Beautiful Krishna. Krishna is pretty good looking, but when he stands next to Radha, then he becomes very, very, very beautiful. That's the idea. When it is brought out in Rasa, next to his Shaktis, and he shines that much more beautifully. So the Bhagavatam is about this, about love of Krishna. These primary possibilities of love of Krishna showcased in the Braj Leela. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to offer these to the world. So this is the most important section, in a sense. In the 10th, in the Rasa Leela section, of course, that's where you find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. At the apex, the zenith of that section, you find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is the most important part of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because it picks up where the Bhagavatam leaves off. There's at its height, and these very esoteric questions of Krishna arise. This aspiration to taste love of the gopis, and he makes a promise to them to pay them back by really becoming devotees to them and making devotees for them, which is his appearance as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the Bhagavatam is an ongoing affair. Chaitanya Charitamrita is the natural extension of the Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the same Krishna. So a case could be made, study the Chaitanya Charitamrita first, then study the Bhagavatam. Probably used to say study the Bhagavatam first, then the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But the case could be made for the opposite as well. And there you're going to find also in Chaitanya Charitamrita a number of Bhagavatam verses that are cited by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in support of the basic philosophical theological points that he makes that constitute the main of theology and the philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So this is another way of finding important sections of the Bhagavatam, what text he has cited. Make a book of the Bhagavatam verses cited in Chaitanya Charitamrita and study those. And you study them, then you go to the chapters they're in, you read them, you understand the context that they're in. This is how to study books, you see. Then you find what other commentaries on the verses there are. And in those commentaries there may be references to other verses, then you go to those verses, and this way you sort of find yourself, live in the books and find yourself moving around from section to section, and so on and so forth. Now, this is the same thing in a sense that, but even more so, the Jiva Goswami has done with his Satsandarbha. Satsandarbhas are 6 treatises for necklaces. Sandarbha means like a necklace. And what he's done with it is strung together so many Bhagavatam verses in a necklace, in a treatise. So practically the whole book, he does cite some other, Vishnu Purana a little bit here, or Vedanta Sutra, but primarily it's all verses of Bhagavatam. I haven't thought, I haven't retired it yet, but sometime I would write a book like Satsandarbha Sar, the essence of Satsandarbha, just taking out the Bhagavatam verses, all the Bhagavatam verses in Satsandarbha, and stringing them together and writing a commentary and kind of condensing it. These are good exercises for devotees who have the capacity to help the community access the teachings. You find Vishwanath Thakur do this, like with his Madhurya Kadamini, with his Bhakti Rasa Mudasini, Bindu, the drop from the ocean of Bhakti Rasa, Bhagavat, was it Great Bhagavatamrita Khan, like a particle of the Great Bhagavatamrita type book. So it was in mind to help the community understand the core books of the founding acharyas. So that's another way to, anyway, look at the Satsandarbha as it comes out in English. I think the Tattva-sandarbha is in English, and the Bhagavad-sandarbha is available in English. And, Jiva Goswami is going to draw from all the cantos verses. And so they're all important, and you start to see why they're important there, how he uses them, and see what those sections are talking about, and how they are making key theological, philosophical points that constitutes what Gaudiya Vaishnavism is. So it's kind of Satsandarbha, kind of a commentary on the Bhagavatam itself. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote a book called Bhagavat Arkamrichinimala, 1,000 rays of the Bhagavatam, 1,000 verses, and he categorized them in terms of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Verses about the Prayojana, verses about the Abhideya, the way, the goal, the way, Sambandha, the basic conceptual orientation that fosters the way, that, again, leads to the fruit. So that's another way to sort out what's important in the Bhagavatam. Learn those 1,000 verses. Pujapad Sridhar said that he had an idea once to write a book like Bhakti-Vinod with, I think, maybe 300 or something verses from the Bhagavatam. So this is the beauty of such services that are there, waiting to be rendered for the community. That said, some of the sections of the Bhagavatam are not as important, and they're not going to be cited, like maybe the Vamsa, the lists of the Vamsas, the kings, and so forth. It's not as important. let's take the fifth canto, where there's a description of the cosmology and so forth. Vishnu Chakravarti explains this is a description of the cosmography for Yoga Nidra devotees or spiritual practitioners whose bhakti is mixed with yoga. And so a form of the universe that they can meditate on. Yogis are all about the subtle body and chakras and all that. Is their very much preoccupation and such. So it's a very kind of subtle, also actually gross form of the universe that yogis can meditate. Given the disposition of yogis, other places of the body, Sukadeva begins this description of the Godhead to Parikshit Maharaj in the second canto by what? The universal form, Virata Rupa, where the moon is one eye, the sun is another. The trees are the hairs on his body. Birds are his artistry or something. His singing and so forth. It's powerful. It's a powerful meditation. And look at the world like that and remember God. And it's for people who are more attached to the world. And the yogis have certain attachment, certain preoccupations, certain samskar and so forth. So, but what Sukadeva was asked by Parikshit Maharaj was, tell me something. Material energy is one of the energies of Bhagwan. You had said something about Prithu in the previous canto, so about the world. So tell me more about the material energy, because it's one of God's Shaktis. By knowing about it, I'll know something more about him and so forth. But it's a very abstract type of a explanation. So Vishnu Chakravarti makes that comment. And he says, therefore, it's not for devotees who have the adhikar to meditate on the form of Bhagavan, Sri Gauranga Madhava, Jai. We don't have to meditate on that, Jambu, Mangu, rivers, and Jambu Dweep, and this type of thing. It's complicated. It's very complicated. The yogic mind is complicated. It needs all kind of subtleties and esoteric thing. You ever read like Paramhamsa Yogananda's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita? It's like that. Everything has an esoteric meaning, it's metaphorical, very metaphorical, and so on. It has value. There's a difference about it. So that's what the yogis are like. It's metaphor. So this is at the beginning of the description of the whole fifth canto. Vishnu says it's not for devotees to meditate. They have the adhikar to meditate on the deity. Same can hold true for the universal form. The adhikar for bhakti, then you can do archana. And so this is our form of the Lord that we can worship on. And so that section then, is important. It's spoken by Sukadeva. There are different people in the audience when Sukadeva is speaking about the time. And so there are sections he will speak for them. Now it's useful, nonetheless, because he's speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, and he's speaking for other people that are there, but he's also, in doing that, speaking for others, he's contrasting the path of Shuddha Bhakti, Uttam Bhakti, with Yoga Nidra Bhakti, Jnana Nidra Bhakti, Karma Nidra Bhakti, Varnashram, and so on and so forth. Like the Gita seems to be about all paths. There's all kinds of paths. Pick one you want. And if you study it carefully, you see it's about Uttam Bhakti. That is the repeated theme. Manabhavam comes in the middle, comes at the end. Ananichintayam tamam yajana paripashte shamiti yoga chimam bhavamiham. Verses about bhakti, about that can't be about sattva, can't be about karma, because the fruits from that are temporary. Anyway, So this is one of the ways to understand a book. What is a theme that's repeated throughout? So, Uttam Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, exclusive Bhakti, Sarvadhanam Putta Jamam Ekam Sharanam. You can find a statement about Yoga Mishra Bhakti here or a section about it there, but in all the chapters, you're going to find statements practically about Uttam Bhakti, or all the three, at least, sections of 6 chapters. And it's a theme that's repeated. You look at what's the beginning of the book, right? What's at the end of the book? You get some idea what it's about. I often, when I buy a book or I want to buy a book, I read the introduction and I'm going to read the conclusion. Okay, that's what it's about. Basically, am I interested? And then, of course, what's repeated throughout the book, the theme that you keep running through, and like when I talk and there's a tangent, they go off here and I forget what I am. Easier with the writing, but so in one sense, those sections that are not as important, they're also important because they contrast Ananya Bhakti with another type of Bhakti, a mixed type of Bhakti, or another path, and it helps you see shed light on the efficacy, the attitude of Bhakti comparatively. So anyway, the 5th canto is there. The 5th canto ends with the hellish planets. You got all these guys being tortured there, and and a lot of devotees, they tell one another you're going to go to hell, and this is going to happen to you, and so forth. It's right there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. You do this, you do that, you're going to go to hell. You're going to boil in oil and so forth. Of course, if you read the book properly, you come to the 6th canto, and the 6th canto begins with Parikshit Maharaj asking how people could be saved from the hellish planets, and Sukadeva Goswami says, well, maybe by pious deeds. And Parikshit Maharaj says, I don't think that's going to work. Because people become pious, and then, like the elephant goes, bathes in the river, then comes back and rolls in the sand. They gave that example. So Sukadeva says, well, I think by Gyan, it's possible. And he says, I don't know if that's going to work, because like the Gyan, it's kind of repressive, so you cut off the desires, But I don't know if you've got to the root. It's just like bamboo. It's just might come back up again. So Sukadeva's testing him by giving him these answers. And then he says, Kechit Kivalaya Bhakti Vasu, by Bhakti. And he gives the right the answer, and of course then goes on about Bhakti. And the efficacy of Bhakti with regard to chanting in particular, and the story of Ajanya, where it's taught that even if you chant like a Jamil, you will never see the heavenly planets. So the teaching is, from another point of view, these heavenly planets, these hellish, I said heavenly, neither one, but heavenly planet, hellish planets. You won't see the heavenly planets.
Yeah.
No difference. So it's another way of saying, forget about that part of the 5th canon. That's not that much interest to us. You're chanting Hare Krishna, you're doing you're a sadhaka of Uttama Bhakti. That has nothing to do with you. Neither any of the other worlds, and because you have the Nam Shreshtam from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu world, because you're less fun because skip up to the 10th canto, so something like that. So you have a lot about creation, 3rd canto, 2nd canto. Of course, there's some important sections about with Brahman creation, like the Chatushloki of the Gita, of the Bhagavatam are there in the 9th chapter of the 2nd canto. Some things are couched in there, but there's a couple of a few different versions of the Sankhya philosophy in the Bhagavatam, which describe the nature of matter and how the world expands and how it can contract by yoga and so on and so forth. But in the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, the Sankhya that's given there, the essence about Sankhya, in one sense, important part about Sankhya is given there by Kapila Muni to his mother, Devahuti. And there you have this very Bhagavad Sankhya, if you will. And Sankhya is the oldest philosophy, maybe, amongst the Indian schools of thought. And it's originally said to come from Rishi, what's his name? Kapila. Conveniently, the Kapila in the Bhagavatam is God.
Yeah.
The Kapila who penned the original Sankhya philosophy, did the Sankhya Karika, is an atheist. That's in the Bhagavatam. The Kapila becomes God. And it is a theistic form of Sankhya. And if you study the teaching here to Kapila, the main point that's being made in that section is Uttam Bhakti. There's some very beautiful verses about Uttam Bhakti. And verses that Rupa Goswami cites in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu when he's defining Bhakti. And there he goes on to talk about Bhakti in different modes of nature, people in different modes of nature with different dispositions in relation to Bhakti and so forth, sorts that out with the Shuddha Bhakti. So if you look at the section in 6th canto about Sankhya, the most important section about the Sankhya, it comes to be all about, ultimately about Bhakti. So that's more important than sorting out the other, and they're different. This Sankhya's got lots of different versions picked up, just like yoga's got a lot of different versions picked up by different groups and rishis. And so the Sankhya, which is kind of corresponds with yoga, these two go together. Sankhya is the philosophy, yoga is the way to, Astanga yoga, the way to realize the Purusha, the witness, the self, still. It's a dualistic thing. It's not a Mayavad idea. It's a different Siddhanta, yoga Siddhanta. But anyway, different versions even with the creation. You can look at it carefully. It says a little different here, a little different there. It's probably not, I tend to think it's not as important. There's two aspects of Maya, that Jiva Goswami brings out, and that is Gunamaya and Jivamaya. So Gunamaya refers to the actual nature of matter, let's say. Jivamaya refers to the extent to which matter, or the Maya Shakti, can delude the Jiva. Its power to delude the Jiva. So my way of talking about it is that that's more important to us than what the actual nature of matter is. Because if you understand its deluding power and the means, which is Bhakti Yoga, to come out from underneath it, you can rise above it without having to be a Sankhya. What is matter? Like these guys want to know what the atom is, and these guys are heady type of people. The study of matter takes a long time. And energy is kind of a shortcut I'm talking about. It can't be fully understood, and it's deluding, and you should transcend it, and let's get on with that. That take also allows you to be a modern person, so to speak, and perhaps suggest that the Sankhya system is talking about the world in a particular way, different than the atomists or whatever the modern people are in science from a different perspective. Maybe things fundamentally come to fusion. What's matter is a human. What is Gunamaya, to use that term, what's matter is like up for grabs. It's really a huge issue. in the scientific community. What is matter? What is consciousness? And that's all there is to know, as I've said. What's out there and who's looking at it. That's it. And nobody knows. We got a story, and we have many great stalwarts who realize it, see it that way, and they have very good qualities. So we're happy with that. But modern science doesn't know what matter is. I mean, they only know in a pragmatic sense of how to produce gizmos and whatnot. Anyway, so that's all in flux. So there are sections about matter and subtle matter. The good thing that part of it is the sunk is about the subtle matter. That's a whole interesting topic, and modern science has to go in that direction. They have to go in the direction of accepting there's something called mind, and it has different laws that it's governed by. It has to go in that direction. You can't continue to try to contain us all in a physical description of things. They want to describe everything physically, and it's just not happening. There are things that aren't physical. Mind's one of them. So, 11th canto can be pretty important. It's an afterthought. It's thought to be the intelligence of Krishna. Some very good sections there. Very good sections on bhakti. 12th canto is brief. Second canto describes the 10 subjects, where we began, and so forth, in the 10th chapter of the second canto. First canto is very important. The whole story is great. There's your 3 verses in the beginning. They're the introduction, and all the ways they may be interpreted. Very beautiful. Then the story begins. The story of the sages, the story of the Bhagavatam, I'm saying, the sages and what is his name? Swami, and there are 6 questions, and then come the following chapters, his answers, and in the context of the answer comes Narada, and Vyasa's despondency, and Narada's answers to him about bhakti, and then Vyasa goes into the trance, and Sudhagate relates in about 6-7 verses what was in the trance of Vyasa, that he saw, that he came out from, and then wrote about. There's the whole Chinti Veda is there. There's Bhagavan and his different Shaktis. He saw this. He saw God like the moon with its shine. So with its internal Shakti, he saw the Maya Shakti. He saw the Jivas in bondage. He saw the remedial means to this bhakti and so forth. And why did Sukadeva study it? He already was realized. That's just the way Bhagavad is. He can attract the minds of those who have no attraction. This is his way. And then Parikshit Maharaj is introduced. And this goes on for quite a bit. The birth of Parikshit, right? Growing up. He's an important character, obviously. And so then some of the stories, like the Bhishma Dev special, as Chidahari brought up, section, it's coming because Parikshit Maharaj's story is on the battlefield and Kurukshetra, right? And is protected in the womb from the Brahmastra, and so somehow I forget, and it slips into Bhishma Dev, and Arjuna is coming back from meeting Krishna in Dwarka, Krishna's disappeared, right? Krishna's disappeared. He has to talk about, because after Kurukshetra is pretty much heading to the end of Krishna Lila and so forth. And building up and more about Parikshit Maharaj, and then chastising of Kali, the glory of Parikshit, and the cursing, and boom, Sukadeva comes on the scene at the beginning of the first canto. And wow, there's Ram standing on him. What will he say? And so there begins his speech. And so the stories and the stories. And so but that's all very important section. That's a pretty good book overall. But those are some ways to think about it. I mean, it's hard, it's like, 12 cantos, 18,000 verses, where do you start, where do you end? And of course, a good start with good guidance. And our whole lineage is full of good guidance in terms of the form of commentaries, the books of the Goswamis, the Leela Granthas of the Goswamis. They're all playing off the Bhagavatam core story of Krishna. And then they're coming off on that. Different days in the life of Krishna and the basic story, but then each day is different. So that's some things to think about. There are some things that make Srimad Bhagavatam a Purana. I think there's 10 things that have to be there for it to be a Purana. So those are kind of built in, like the Vamsana. They're not the most important.
It's 10 for a major and 5 for a minor.
But it's a major.
Right.
Right. So there's 10. So those subjects are packed in there to make it a Purana. But it's the Amala Purana. Vaishnavanam Priyamalam Puranam. So it's a spotless Purana. It's not dealing with the modes of nature, sattva, rajas, or tamas, only with the nirguna. Only with rasa. It's a rasa book. Vigamakoda Karogalitam Palam, Jugumavaram, the Rabas, and Vitam Pivatam Bhagavatam, Simhalayam, it's a Rasa Shastra. It's a Purana, kind of. Wait a minute. It says at the beginning, it's a Rasa Shastra. It's got the Puranic element, so it's peculiar amongst the Puranas, and therefore you find the Puranas paying their obeisances to Srimad Bhagavatam repeatedly. It's like Vyasa wrote the Bhagavatam and then went back and wrote a couple of verses in so many Puranas, and glorious to the Bhagavatam. It says this, and the story of Richasura is there. Which is, I think, has maybe roots in the Upanishads, and which is a story in which Rag Bhakti is brought out. And Kuma Purana says, and the story of Richasura is there. So it's a beautiful story. I mean, it's a story of Shiva's praising, what's his name? Chitraketu as a Narayana Parayana. Whereas his life is devoted to Narayan, doesn't care if he's in heaven, hell, liberated or unliberated. Parvati cursed him. Took the curse, became Vikrasura. Had a battle with Indra. Struck by lightning, starts speaking Rag Bhakti in his demon form. So anyway, different Puranas are kind of like pointing in the direction of Bhagavad. It's special. I mean, it really is special from a theological point of view, from a philosophical point of view, from a literary point of view. It's very special. It's different than all the other Puranas. Therefore, you find such a commentarial tradition to the Bhagavatam. Like I said, there's over 80 Sanskrit commentaries on the Bhagavatam. How do you think there are in the Kuma Purana? None. and then before our Guru Maharaj translated into English, he was translated in French, German, I believe. So that the Westerners who came, they just thought, this is a special one here. The language is, it's full of this that rasic voice. It's said, of course, you all know this, but that the Vedas speak like a king, the Puranas speak like a friend, and the Rasa Shastra speaks like a lover. And Bhagavatam has all three voices. So in so many ways, it's comprehensive. It describes itself. Shruti Saram Mekam, the cream, the saram, the essence of the Shruti of the Upanishads. Like Gita is thought to be a Smriti because it's, or Itihasa because it's in the Mahabharata. but it's also called Gita Upanishad because it's spoken by Krishna, so Krishna's God, so it's spoken directly by, that's what Shruti means, heard directly from God. So that's a special position in Bhagavatam. It describes itself, Shruti Sadhu Vikam, the essence of the Shruti. So a very, very special book. And who would have known? That's our Sampradaya, Gaudiya Sampradaya, Gita. We roll this out. Nama Shastra Vicharana Kanipano Saddhana Samistakapu Lokanam Hitakaranam Tribhuvane Manusharam Bande Rupa Sanatana Babuya Roshi Jiva Rupa. Used to be always high and not yet out regard for the Goswamis, what they did. All these jungle of sounds, as Tripurari referred to them, was the body of literature on earth, the composite of Vedic literature. They sorted it all out and presented the essence and gave us this. If you hear, like I'm speaking about it, for example, the special position of the Bhagavatam, well, no, it's pretty objective, okay, but they're the ones that saw it, figured it out, understood it, and pointed it out, and gave us a hub around which everything orbits. So that, you're asking what's the most important part of the Bhagavatam? Well, the Bhagavatam's important, that's our main thing first to the world of Vedantas. The Bhagavatam, it is, who would have known, who would have thought some verse in the Kurma Purana, big Purana after all, says, Artoyam Brahmasutranam, I think it's the Kurma Purana, right? Artoyam Brahmasutranam, Gayatri Vasudhupo Surata Paridhanita. Artoyam Brahmasutranam, describing Bhagavatam. It's a glorification of the Bhagavatam. Gayatri Vasudhupo Surata. It's a commentary on Gayatri, which is the original mantra, Om Gayatri, like compared to the flute of Krishna. So the original Vedic mantra, all of the mantras follow. It's a commentary on Gayatri Vasya. It's the Samaveda of the Vedas. The Samaveda is like the hymns. You can get together and do kirtan of the Samaveda. So it's a beautiful part of the Vedas. It's the Samaveda of the Vedas. It's Arto Yam Brahma Sutram. It is the commentary on the Brahma Sutras, Vedanta Sutra. And whoa, that's revolutionary. Therefore, we don't need a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, but the Bhagavatam. It's the commentary by the author of the sutras himself. These are revolutionary ideas, but you see how they drew them out, and who would have known? How they had to read the Kurma Purana to find that out, And the other Purana, he was citing so many different Puranas, so it was tough to know where to find the Bhagavatam. So they had to read all those Puranas. I remember as a kid, and I was reading Prabhupada's books. I mean, how many books has he read? He's quoting this one and this one and this one and this one. Then I realized he's reading the Goswami's books, and they quoted this one and this one and this one. Like Sridhar said, they not obviously diminish anything that Prabhupada did, but he said that the Goswamis, they made, if you want to make a garland out of gems, they did the hard work. They took the gems and drilled holes in them, and left it for us to put the strength in. They did the hard work of forming the Sampradaya out of all the sacred texts. They're the architects. They did the blueprint. They did the structure, the back end of everything. And they filled it in a little bit, and left the rest as they could decorate and do a design forever. And that's easier than the back end. They do the math. They do the art too, but they made the canvas. They do the basic picture, and then it can be ornamented unlimitedly. So their contribution is immense. They are our Sampradaya credibility, as Prabhupada taught, derives from accurately representing them, representing their teaching. And they You hear about it, it's obvious, but it wouldn't be to you. They came up with it. What is the position of the Bhagavatam? So, what's the time?
17.
Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam
Ki
ki jai.
jai.
Shri Gaura Madhava ki
Ki
jai.
jai.
Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanandi ki
Hari
jai.
Bol. Bhaktivedanta Tripurari Swami Guru Maharaj
Ki jai.
What are we wondering?